Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Surviving Out of Spite. My name is Samantha Sauer, and I'm your host. Today, it's just me. As we go into the holiday season, I wanted to chat a little bit about what it's like when we are surrounded by food-centric holidays. All of us with gastroparesis or some sort of digestive issue, allergy, anything along those lines, we've definitely been in the situation where someone is trying to get you to eat something that either you can't eat, don't want to eat, or really shouldn't eat, or a combination of all those things. And it gets really, really difficult to continuously say no to people and to say over and over again, like, hi, grandma, I'm sorry. No, I can't eat that. I have gastroparesis. I don't digest that. Or no, I'm allergic to that. Or no, I don't tolerate whatever it is that you have to say. It gets really, really frustrating to have to do it over and over and over and over and over again. Right. And sometimes, depending on where you are in your journey and where you are in your ability to eat, to function, to even want to tolerate things, it can be very, very bitter, very difficult to be in a situation trying to celebrate something and you really don't feel like celebrating. And when all of the activities can be surrounded by food, I don't need to tell you guys how it is. You know what it's like. I remember, I don't know what holiday it was, but I remember this was very early on, before I started TPN, and I was not tolerating anything. I was literally just sitting there with nothing. I wanted to be at the table. I think I had a hot tea. So maybe a hot tea, but really like no food, nothing. And everybody around me was eating. And I was so bitter watching everybody eat like all my favorite foods. And it was so, so, so difficult for me. Now, I've had many different holidays where I've been able to eat a little bit, eat kind of normal, eat what I consider my normal, eat nothing at all, say, screw it, go eat something, and then end up really sick and puking in the bathroom. Been there too. It's it's hard. And the way that we all handle it, the way that we all want to handle it, and the way we need to handle it is going to be very different. So I just wanted to kind of chat about that, even though I'm by myself, chatting with myself, about what it's like and how to really handle a lot of that. I was diagnosed with gastroparesis over a decade ago, and I've been through many different points in my illness around different holidays. And for me, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It has the best food, in my opinion. Absolutely love it. From the apple pie to the pumpkin pie to stuffing to turkey to, even like corn and carrots and green bean casserole. All of these, and my mom's creamed onions, oh, they are my favorite. Now, most of those things that I mentioned, probably you're thinking to yourself, I can't eat that. Absolutely can't eat that. And at one point, I couldn't either. But now for me, I am able to eat a little bit more, but, and this is a big but, I make most of those foods for myself. If I'm traveling somewhere for Thanksgiving, if there's a food that I particularly really want to eat, I will offer to make that because I know if I make it, I'm going to make it in a way that I can tolerate it, whether that's adding in particular seasonings or leaving out particular seasonings, using a certain type of bread for stuffing, using a certain type of broth, etc., or even just a certain amount of something. We all know that that can make a huge difference. So it started to help for me when I was able to, cook a little bit more for myself, and I started enjoying that. So I wanted to share food. I wanted to be present in that. And when I couldn't eat anything, making something helped me be present in the moment and kind of enjoy the atmosphere around the food without feeling so bitter. I mean, we're always going to feel a little bit bitter. that I don't think goes away. But it really helped me heal my relationship around that. My mom was also really great, especially in like the really bad years when I could hardly eat anything, that we didn't really focus on the food. We tried to focus on other things and not necessarily like everybody gather around and like focus in on this one meal, this big thing. And I'm sitting there like, can I get up from the table now? This really sucks. So we tried to incorporate other activities or movies, games, anything like that, just so it wasn't so food focused. And I always really appreciated that, and as I got older and holidays got a little bit smaller to a degree, our families have families, our friends have families, and we all kind of did our own thing. That for me was actually really helpful because when it was just like me, my mom, and my grandma, I was like, I'm taking control of the cooking. I'm doing all of this. I'm going to make it the way that I want to make it. And that was really helpful for me. And I found foods that worked for me. I was able to trial and error some stuff. And I also understand that that's not going to work for everybody. A, not everybody wants to cook. B, not everybody can cook. And C, some people just don't want to be around food. And I get that. And, when you're around people that don't get it, you're going to be around somebody who inevitably is going to ask you if you've had or tried digestive enzymes, tried yoga. They know somebody with IBS and they cured it by drinking magic juice and grew magic beans in their backyard. It's frustrating. And, we've talked in our support group sometimes, like, what do you do when people are like, here, just try this? Or somebody who inevitably, in a good way, goes out of their way to make you something. Like if you're gluten-free like myself and they make you something that's gluten-free because they know you're going to be there and they just are like, we wanted you to be able to participate and we made this for you. And you're like, what's in it? And you find out that there's something in it maybe that you don't tolerate. Like, do you just suck it up and say, sure, thank you, really appreciate it, and eat it anyway? Or do you say, thank you, I'm so sorry, but I can't do that and risk hurting their feelings? Or do you risk hurting yourself? Like, that's why it's so easy to just say screw it to these holidays and just not participate at all. Because then you don't have to answer any questions, you don't have to worry about anything, and you can just kind of sit in your shit, do the holiday how you want to do it. And you know what? That's okay too. It's one of those things where I think we really have to sit back and decide like what's important to us and who is important to us and who do we want to spend this holiday with. Is it ourselves? Is it one family member? Is it friends? Is it a big family event? It takes time. And I think that we all kind of go through a process almost every year, to say, where am I right now? Am I able to eat? Am I able to function? Am I able to maybe try something? Am I feeling, a little bit risky and want to say, you know what? I just want to enjoy the taste for once and, deal with the consequences later. It's a toss up, but I definitely found that making things myself or even just saying thank you but no thank you, I'm going to spend the holiday, like me and my husband and my mom have had holidays together since my husband and I got married, and it's been because of my insides or something with my health. Or one year we spent Thanksgiving in the ER, unrelated to my stomach, but that kind of set the tone for the rest of Thanksgiving. Um, we just had to figure out what worked, and I was able to make what I wanted. We had something small. I didn't have to tell people over and over again why I can't eat that, or explain to somebody like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. That's going to hurt my stomach. I'm sorry, I have gastroparesis. I'm sorry, I can't do this. You know what? I also have no shame, and I'll tell you that that's going to give me the shits. I'm sorry that if I eat that, I'm just going to have diarrhea, and nobody really wants that, right? And I tend to find that if you bring that up, people don't really want to ask you many more questions because they don't actually want the answer to those questions. So, it, I laugh, but I have little shame anymore with what works for me because I've been doing this a long time and I've been in this a long time and I've had a lot of feelings around food, around holidays, around people, around doing all of these things over and over again. And sometimes you just got to do whatever is right for you. And, you know, always have snacks if you can eat. I still travel that way. I will always have something, you know, even if it's candy, if it's ice cream, if it's crackers, if it's some sort of cheese, if it's pasta, if it's chips, anything like that. Like having something usually is like, oh, well, I'm just going to eat what I brought. One thing I will say that as we're headed into the season, I know for those that do celebrate the holidays, if you are planning on doing something with your family, maybe now's the time to do a little trial and error before you get somewhere. Maybe you'd like to make some butternut squash soup and bring that as a dish, and that's what you eat for your meal. If you can tolerate different types of breads, I find that sourdough bread and I are really, really good friends. So I make my own, and that's something that maybe you could bring. It's hard to know what we tolerate without trying it, and that can be really, really scary. And when you're around a lot of people, and maybe if you are going to a big celebration or it's a group of people that maybe you don't know everybody there, it's not your whole family, it's your family's family or your family's friends, you don't know anybody, and you feel a little nervous to kind of like be yourself in front of people and you want to fit in and you don't want anyone to point out that you're doing anything weird by not eating or only eating a couple bites of something. I get it. I've been there, and it's easy for me to say, screw it. Who cares what they think? Let them stare. Let them ask questions. That's very easy for me to say because I am at the point in my life where if I have to hook up to my IV fluids, like if I have to whip them out and go some place in the house that is safe for me to hook them up, I'm going to go do that. If I need to do an injection of insulin and you're sitting right there and I need to pull out needles, I really don't care what you think. If I have to take meds, if I have to do something, if I'm going to be sick, like obviously I don't want to do that in front of anybody. But if it happens, it happens. And I've realized that I don't owe anybody an explanation to that. If you want to ask me kindly about what I'm dealing with or have a conversation, I will absolutely have that conversation with you. But I will absolutely tell you to go screw off too if you make me feel bad about it. So I understand that we're not all going to be in that place, and that can make it hard to put yourself out there and be in that situation. But I want to encourage you to try to find some sort of relationship with food. And whether that means not having a relationship with food because that's what's safest and healthiest for you right now, then you're making that decision wisely. You're having that conversation with yourself. You're making that decision for yourself. But test some things out, see how you feel. Maybe cooking will heal your relationship with food like it did for me. I know it has for a lot of other people who eat very little foods or just don't eat anything at all and just enjoy feeding people. You know, I don't want anybody to feel left out on the holidays, and, we're here for you. We have our virtual support group the week before Thanksgiving. So if you're feeling a little unsure about the holidays, if you're like, I don't know what to do, or I just want to be around other people who get it, like, please come. We're a great group. We've had a lot of great people in there, and there's people who are in all different points of their severity, their journey, their diagnosis. We've all been through something, and there's somebody in there who gets it. So if you need a little bit of encouragement, if you just need a little bit of hand holding, I hope that we see you there and know that it's a safe space for you to just be, however that is for you. But if you're in a situation where you're not sure how to handle the holidays, if you've got a great piece of advice, leave something in the comments. The way that I handle things isn't for everybody. The way that we all do things, it's going to be different. And if you've got some advice that works, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to share it with everybody else. But right now, just know that we hear you, we see you, and we understand that this is difficult. And, being around food and having to explain yourself over and over again is just it gets truly exhausting, especially when it's around people that you've probably explained it to at least once, probably twice. And you still get questions and you still get looks, and it's just, you want to be there, but you don't know how it's going to feel for you. So I hope that everybody has a safe and flare-free, or at least as small of a flare as possible, holiday, and that you're able to enjoy it however you are. And, if you want some recipes, that's something we can always talk about. We've got some great cookbooks on the website that maybe they're digital downloads. So maybe there's something in there that you'd want to try and take with you to Thanksgiving, whether you're doing it on your own or with a small group of people or with family. So enjoy. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us anytime, but just know that we've all been in this space at least one time or another, and we're here for you if, you need a moment, need somebody to kind of sit in your shit with you while you want to be bitter about food. Like, we're right there with you. But if you want to enjoy it too, we're right there with you for that. So thanks for tuning in. And like I said, if you've got a great recipe, please leave something in the comments. Always love to try something new. So we'll see you in the next episode.